The last time you saw this 125cc turbo drift kart, we unfortunately blew the motor on the dyno.
Our drift kart started life as a kid's quad bike that we modified and threw a 125cc motor in, and it went awesome. So of course we had to add more power and throw a turbo on it.
And that is this bad boy right here.
Then we fitted the world's smallest intercooler and piping, which looked absolutely ridiculous. Finally, we installed this fully tunable ECU with fuel injection, and it actually made boost.
That's so good!
It also popped crazy flames. Unfortunately, the little 125cc Chinese engine decided to give up on the dyno when we were tuning it.
Oh, I think we did a mischief. And this is the damaged piston from our 125cc motor. And I think it's fair to say this thing is ready for the bin. So after we blew up the 125cc motor on the dyno, I promised you guys we'd be going bigger and better. And that is exactly what we've done right here. Ooh, this looks fancy as hell. It's so heavy. Oh my lord, it's silver. Looks so fancy. So one thing I can see immediately with this new motor is it is physically bigger than the last one, I think. We're gonna put them side by side to compare, which means I actually need to get the old one out of the bin. But this motor also looks way better quality for some reason. Let's get this one back out. So here are both motors side by side, and you can see there is, I think, definitely a difference in size. The 150cc motor is a little bigger, but when we go around the front, that's kind of when you really see it, especially with the head. Like, here's the 125cc head. And here's the 150cc head, which means hopefully it's gonna flow more air and give us more boost, which is exactly what we're looking for, because more boost means more dose. We made 1.5 PSI on the 125cc motor. I'm really hoping we see upwards of somewhere between 4 and 5 PSI. Probably not a good thing for the motor, but a good thing for our ears. So the other big difference between these motors is this one was a 4-speed manual engine. The reason I chose a manual transmission the first time around was because I thought it would be cool having a clutch, being able to clutch kick for drifting, but it really wasn't necessary for our drift kart. Once you put the plastic on the rear of these drift karts, you really don't need to clutch kick. They lose traction so quickly, and having a clutch and a clutch cable is just another thing to go wrong on the motor. So on the new motor, we have ditched the clutch, and this is a 3-speed semi-automatic transmission. That means we still have the shifter kart so we can change gears, which is pretty awesome. We don't have the clutch, which is actually, I think, more beneficial for us. Also, it's got a reverse gear, which is kind of cool, because when we hit a building, which is pretty inevitable, we can reverse, which is pretty sweet. But as far as everything else goes in terms of like the intake being the same, it seems like they're exactly the same, which is awesome because we can still use our fuel injected throttle body with the map sensor and throttle position sensor in here, which is very crucial. But one big thing we need to do is actually pull the flywheel cover off our motor, because we need to see exactly what flywheel we're running with in here. Apparently our ECU is made for this specific flywheel in here. Of course we can probably modify it if it's not, but we're going to whip this case off and quickly have a look and make sure it's all exactly as we need it. I cannot believe how much better quality this motor is than that one. This motor cost $500, which is quite a bit. I think the other one was about $380. This is definitely worth the upgrade just from a quality perspective, but the good news is this flywheel is exactly the same as the other one, which means our fully tunable fuel injected ECU is going to work on our new motor, so that is awesome news. Another thing I noticed as well is when you look at the ports on this motor, for example, not only is the casting better on the ports, but the ports are so much bigger. Like, if you compare the two, that is pretty crazy how much different the 150cc is to the 125, which gives me faith that we are going to get the spool for our turbo from this bigger motor. By the way, if you're wondering what this is behind us, this is our fake Lamborghini Diablo that we are turning into one of Australia's craziest drift cars. We've put a 13V rotary motor in it. Go and check out the videos after this. It's easily the craziest build I've ever done. Go check out the videos after this one, of course. Keep watching this and then go check out the other videos. One thing I did just double check as well, the exhaust is exactly the same, which means we can still use our turbo manifold that we have fabricated for the 125cc motor, although we're going to take the chance to upgrade it a little bit and make sure it is as efficient as possible. And again, the hole for the exhaust is way larger here than it is on this motor as well, so I'm pretty freaking pumped to get this thing in and running. I guess the first thing we need to do is make sure the engine actually fits in the mounts that we made for the previous motor, so let's do a test fit. Yo, not only does it fit, it looks so good in there. The silver is so much better than the black, but it seems that they're basically the same casting in terms of the mounts, which is really good for us. So everything that we've made previously fits perfectly. Fantastic. Well, there you have it. The 150cc motor fits in our drift kart, and we're going to be rebuilding this whole thing from the ground up. That means in the next video, we're going to tear this whole thing down, make a couple of changes, finish welding the frame, because I never actually finished it because we kind of rushed to get it onto the dyno. I never actually got time to finish welding the frame and making it all pretty. We're going to make a couple of upgrades to our turbo setup and just make sure this thing's actually reliable so we can thrash the living hell out of it, take it drifting, see if we can get it over 100 kilometers an hour. Now, just quickly for everyone watching, a bunch of you guys have asked me about different aspects of the kart and where you can find these parts. So just for you guys, I've put all the links in the descriptions for as many parts as I can on this thing so you can go ahead and build your own. But that's where we're going to wrap up the video on the kart. I cannot wait to get stuck into this build. If you have any advice at all, jump in the comments below, let me know. But I'm so freaking hyped to see exactly what we can push out of this new motor. It already looks 100 times better just sitting in there. So it's going to be an exciting journey. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel if you feel like it, and I'll see you guys in the next video where we get stuck into this thing. Until then, see you next time. Peace. Bye. The 125cc turbo drift kart is now a 150cc big block turbo drift kart. Hell yeah. Woohoo. Bye.